Righty, here we are, back once again on the January year, 2015, month January, day 10 plus 4, 14. Actually, it's 1436. The year is 1436. If you're a what do they call them? Radical extremist or
no,
Violent
extremist. If you're a violent extremist, the year for you is 1436, but you have nothing to do with Islam, according to our State Department. We're going to get into that in today's show. Tom Trento.
What the heck is in your pocket?
What pocket?
What the heck is in your pocket? I'm serious. I just saw
Oh my God, I forgot to take that out. Oh no.
It's your little Obama.
Can we start the show over? I keep him very, very close to me.
To your heart.
Keep him close to my heart. Before the show starts, he provides some sort of inspiration where I want to take everything everyone else owns and share it with everyone who has a need. I'd like to do that, and for some reason, I look forward to
it's an Obama doll for all your listening audiences.
For some reason, I also like to hear the sound of the muezzin in the morning.
It's the most beautiful sound in the world.
Ooh, like Duke University?
Screaming Allahu Akbar all over the place whenever I have him close to me, and I love to sniff jocks. Okay, I just love to sniff
What's
jocks
that all about?
when I'm holding our dear president close to my heart. Yeah, I gave it some thought over the past week or so. He disses France. Now look, we all know, because we followed this for a long time, on many levels France needs to be dissed, okay? But when they get attacked by Muslim jihadis, and the world is somewhat coming together in some way, shape, or form to have some spine and backbone, it makes a lot of sense to have the President of the United States there. And they've even admitted it was wrong. Well, where was he? He was sniffing jocks, basically.
Sniffing jocks. What does that
Have
mean?
you ever heard of the term jock sniffer? A jock
Mark's an
sniffer
athlete,
is
yeah.
a guy.
That's what I thought you were referring to, sniffing jock straps. Is that what you're
The term jock sniffer is like guys like Shapiro from University of Miami, the guy that's in jail right now. Jock sniffers are regular guys that might have some money that love to hang around with athletes, with famous athletes, because it makes them feel cool. So Obama, we had this discussion on the way in today. Obama is a jock sniffer.
Yeah,
I take it one step further. He's a celebrity groupie. Because if it's the sports world, he wants to be there with Tiger and with LeBron and everybody else, or with Rihanna or who else? Jay-Z. He loves, and look, we have done on this show, Enemies of the State, folks, at 9 minutes after 4 o'clock, the hour on the East Coast is 4 o'clock, we do a 3-hour psychological in-depth analysis of President Obama, and we make these points in a very erudite, very academic fashion through a PowerPoint presentation. But today we're making it with a foam rubber head. Okay, so it's a little easier with the foam rubber head. We're basically saying that there are 3 animating elements in President Obama's head floating around simultaneously: a psychiatrist's dream client, dream patient. Part of Obama is a celebrity groupie, whether it's a sports world or whether it's the Hollywood scene. Part of Obama floating in his head, he's a Marxist ideologically, a neo-Marxism. He may not want to kill millions and millions of people, but he certainly wants the system that those who killed millions and millions of people want it in place politically, with a few modifications, because he's smarter than Lenin and Marx and all the folks who were trying to implement that view, even Castro. And the other animating element between being a groupie, being a Marxist, he's a Muslim. He's a Muslim sympathizer, and this makes a tremendous amount of sense when you look at his upbringing. At 4 or 5 years old, he's in Muslim schools in Jakarta, Indonesia, being influenced by Muslim leaders. His dad was a Muslim. He therefore technically is a Muslim. He later in life, I don't know at what point in his political career in Chicago, came out and said he was a Christian, but I've gone on record many, many times saying that his Christianity is unrecognizable to me, a Christian theologian. So when you try to figure out where was Obama, what's he all about, you've got to understand all this mush going on in his head. Wow. Marxism, Islam, and celebrity recognition.
Well, speaking of that celebrity recognition, I got something for you.
What do you got?
You remember that whole situation? You know, he is a true jock sniffer. He really is.
Yeah.
But typically, you know, when the jocks look at jock sniffers, they like, yeah.
Give me a break.
Give me a break. In fact, so much so where there was a situation between Ahmad Rashad, who's a superstar athlete, you know, I think he's a wide receiver, was Ahmad Rashad, and also Michael Jordan. They were talking back and forth about Barack Obama and his golfing ability, and typical jock sniffer replies to him. They were debating. He says, Michael Jordan says, I've never played with Obama, but I would. But nah, that's okay. I take him out. He's a hack. Oh. It'll be an all day playing with him. And you know
those are serious golfers.
Yeah. Well, Michael Jordan's serious. He's not a great golfer, but he's a serious athlete. He says, I don't want to play with a hack. Well, and that's what they look at. They look at these guys as just complete, total losers.
And this is the most powerful man in the free world. That's right. The point we're making today as we look at powerful men in the free world. We're going to look at President Hollande in France and Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu.
Well, I wasn't finished with that.
Okay.
Because the money
guy
shot.
comes in at like 2 minutes before.
No, you just keep going. And he goes, do you really want to say that President of the United States is a hack? Michael, this is Ahmad Rashad asking the question. Michael Jordan says, don't worry about it. I never said he wasn't a great politician. I just said he wasn't a
that's a good point.
Shitty golfer.
A great
he was a shitty
politician?
Golfer. Yeah,
really?
I just want to say he's
don't say the S word.
He's just a sugary golfer.
Almost sound like you said the beep word.
I don't think so.
Oh, just sugary.
Mark has much more control.
Control of that.
He's no Egozi.
He's no Egozi. In a few minutes, Egozi will be with us, folks, live from Israel.
But not before. We will not see Egozi before we see the newest celebrity journalist from Israel.
Yes. In less than a few minutes, we'll have another guest Skyped in with the initials JJ. I'll let you figure out who JJ is from Israel with a phenomenal report on her. I'll give you a hint. Her threat situation that we've been following. The fact that she went to the funerals of those who were killed at the Kosher Deli in Paris and brought back videotape we're going to take a look at. And the fact that she is now an official writer with the Jerusalem Post. So we're going to look at that in a couple of minutes. But I want to establish for the record that we have a president of the United States that is somewhat MIA, missing in action, which is okay. He can take the rest of the 2 years off as far as we are concerned here in the United States of America. But he's got a Politburo. He's got a group of functionaries around him who are not where he is in his thinking, wanting to watch all the games and kind of check out and doing this president stuff. They still want to implement ideologically a neo-Marxist, pro-socialistic, pro-Islamic view of reality, integrate it into the United States. And if you don't believe that, watch any State Department official, spokesperson, or Josh Earnest. We'll bring some of that footage a little later and in tomorrow's show, Thursday's show. Watch them as even the center-left news reporters are saying, what the hell's with you guys? The whole world is pointing at radical Islam. You're avoiding the nomenclature that has Islam attached to Islamic terrorism. What is that all about? And watch how logic is twisted upside down. Words no longer have meaning. And people you would think have some sort of ethics and morality are reduced to babbling idiots presenting the American view. If I'm an AQ guy, if I'm an Islamic State guy, I'm looking at that, I'm saying we're winning, guys. We are beating the hell out of the United States because they don't even know who we are when we tell them who we are. That's the situation we're in right now.
The backflips that Josh Earnest was having to do.
You have that footage?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Mark
Bring that
will
up.
probably find that soon. But
Mark's painting the walls in the
I'm
other
painting
place.
them.
Right?
I'm half
putting
here.
down green
Hey, listen,
rug,
I'm
paint
green
wall.
rug.
All right, Mark, give us a
Green
10-second update on the new studio we're moving into shortly.
It's green.
Okay. We have a virtual studio, folks, that everything is green.
Everything
The walls
is
are
green.
green. The floor is green. My eyes, I'm going to wear those
You're
green
green,
contacts so
green,
you can't
green,
see
green,
my
green.
eyes.
That's our
Everything's
virtual
green.
studio.
Going to wear
Everything
a green
is
shirt.
green.
I'm going to be invisible, just a head floating around. Oh, you like that, Abdullah, huh? Just my head floating around.
Oh, Tom, I dream of these things, you know.
We can even chop your head off in the new green room.
You just got to get through the real God to get to me. That's all you have to do. But that's okay. All right.
What am I looking for again?
No, forget about it. It doesn't matter.
I'll find
Say hello to
it.
my
Just be
friend.
ready with those Jerusalem Jane videos.
Say hello to the
We'll
president,
talk
Mark.
later.
Mark,
Hey.
just say hello to the president.
Hey,
okay?
Jock Sniffer. Mr. President Jock Sniffer.
President Jock Sniffer.
And in all honesty, folks, we here at this show and in our work, we have little respect for the man Barack Obama. We have tremendous respect for the office of the President of the United States. That's why we say he's unfit. Unfit to lead on so many different levels. In fact, if he maintained his job as a lawyer in some firm in Chicago and never ran for political office, what celebrity and what celebrity in Hollywood and what celebrity in the sports world would even care about who this guy is?
I know.
Nobody would care. He'd be a second-rate lawyer in
Yeah.
Chicago.
in
Big
mom,
deal.
in
Running
mom
Acorn.
jeans on a bicycle with
Yeah.
a helmet.
Yeah, he'd
Running
be
Acorn,
nothing.
yeah.
But Valerie Jarrett got a hold of him. The Brotherhood got a hold of him. And they've created their Manchurian candidate. And here he is, foam rubber head and all. But an individual who does not have foam in her head, but who has, in fact, gray matter in her head and more testosterone in her left pinky finger than President Obama has in all of his private parts. How's that for an introduction? Wow.
Wow, boy.
Please welcome Jerusalem Jane to the show.
Woo. All right.
You
Hey,
get
gentlemen,
welcome.
that was a nice introduction.
Yes,
Wow.
isn't that interesting? Hey, look, you're a tough gal from Denmark. You've proven that over the past
Thank you.
couple of weeks, and that needs to be recognized. But you have such a soft side to you, too.
I do. Yeah.
Yes, you do. Janie,
Good to see you, Tom.
it's good to see you, for sure, because I can see you now, the way we've hooked this up. Skype connection is great. First of all, everybody wants to know, is there snow on the ground in Jerusalem?
No, so there is no snow on the ground in Jerusalem. No.
The snow
It only
is
was
gone.
here for a few days.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that was good. We did a story yesterday of snow in a bizarre dusting of snow in Saudi Arabia, and somebody writes into the one of the primary clerics and says, "Can I make a snowman?" And the answer was, "No, you cannot. Islam does not allow snowmen."
A fatwa.
So,
Absolutely not.
An absolute
What?
fatwa against it. And also, yeah, snow camels, anything, any images whatsoever, it is a fatwa in Islam.
Against it.
Because it is too erotic, if I remember what the cleric said.
One of the things
Yeah.
was to build a camel or a human out of snow is too erotic for
Re-
male Muslims.
You haven't seen
Make
it,
us
Jane?
crazy.
Oh, here.
We cannot control ourselves around such things.
And the other was that only Allah can reproduce images, and for you to do that, you're playing the role of Allah. And so we have
Right.
no fatwas in Jerusalem against snow men or camels.
Just fatwas against this Jerusalem Jane character you keep having on your show.
Yeah, tell us about the threat situation. We've been following that. How are things going right
Well, there,
now?
show her the snowman real quick.
I'd show her the snowman,
Yeah, there
yeah.
you go. That's one of the snowmen.
Check this out, Jerusalem Jane.
Okay.
Mark. There you go. Can you see? That's truly a fatwa against that snowman.
No, that wasn't fun.
Really?
Yes.
No, it didn't snow
That's
that much.
Yes,
did
it
it?
did.
Wow. All right, what is your situation, Jerusalem Jane? For review at 20 minutes after 4, Tom Trento, Enemies of the State, WSBR Radio, theunitedwest.org, Internet Television, TeaPartyCommunity.com, Internet Television, Breitbart TV, Jane, you have a ministry to go on the Temple Mount and go throughout Jerusalem praying for Jewish people, for Israel. A bunch of Muslims said, nah, 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 nah. And now you're in sort of a conflict with some of those folks. Give us an update.
Well, there's not much to say because I'm kind of taking it slow right now, Tom. I'm not doing it. You told me actually last time, don't do anything stupid, so I'm not doing anything stupid. But we did receive a phone call yesterday actually from someone saying in the media saying you have some videos that show where you live on the street, so take them down. It's too dangerous for you. So we took them down, and I have to be careful now on what I video film from my surroundings where I live. So yeah, it's reality for me now, I guess.
Yeah, it's a real situation, and you have a network of folks there, but you're a young woman in Jerusalem and a bunch of angry Muslim men, angry because you are standing for Israel. That's really why they're angry. And folks, these are the points of demarcation in Western civilization, where serious decisions have to be made, and we are strong advocates, the United West, of taking a stand and fighting against ideologically the onslaught of Islamic Jihad, Muslim terrorism. We have no problem
What
identifying.
did you say?
No problem identifying the
Did
enemy.
you just say Islamic terrorism?
No problem identifying the enemy of the
He's
state.
such a hater, isn't he, Imam Abdullah?
But-
He's an Islamophobe.
But we're also wise enough to know when a single woman is who's a Christian, so two things against her from Islam's point of view, who wants to minister to Israel, three things against her from Islam's point of view, does that with a minimum of folks around her and protection. You have to be wise at how you do that and when you do that. Jane's not going anywhere. Her work is tremendous. And in fact, yesterday she was at the funeral of the 4 Jewish people slaughtered by Muslims. Last time I looked, it was Muslim jihadis that killed the 4 Jews at the Kosher restaurant, wasn't it? Or was it violent extremism people?
It had nothing to do with Islam, is what
Oh.
your idiot president says. Of course it has everything to do with Islam. What kind of stupidity is your president?
The our president does a disservice to Muslim jihadis who say, we did this. Please recognize us.
What do we have?
Yeah, we're the guys who did this. Come on,
If you would just give us credit, we could stop killing for a few minutes. But the more he says it is not Islam, it forces us to kill more people.
The Karachi brothers, whatever those guys, left their ID in the car to say it's us, okay? We're the ones that did this. They made videos about it. No.
They made video in front of an Islamic flag, holding the Quran, screaming Allah Akbar when they shoot the guy. What do you have to do?
Nope, it's not. Has nothing to do with Islam. Nothing to do with Islam. All right, Jane, you were at the funeral yesterday. Please, 24 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast, share your reflection, your thoughts, your feelings for what took place. We're going to roll some video that you shot underneath your voice. So take it away, Jane.
Okay. Well, this was what you're seeing here was when they were singing Hatikva, actually. That was at the end of the funeral. And I was just standing there amongst the Jewish people singing Hatikva. And I promised myself I'm not going to cry. And I'm going to try to be professional. But I was standing amongst, I don't know how many thousand people there singing Hatikva, that means hope. And tears was just running down their faces. I could hear people sobbing. Because once again, we are at a funeral for Jewish people being slaughtered for one reason only, being Jewish. And this was not one guy, this was 4, Tom. We were burying four yesterday. So this was just, I got a lot of comments on this video actually, because singing Hatikva in the midst of this was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, that looks like it would be very moving. That was in Jerusalem. The funerals took place in Jerusalem.
Yes, at the big cemetery in Jerusalem, and we actually the police blocked all the streets going to the cemetery was blocked off. So we had a long walk before we got there. So we just got there. What you see here now is after the official ceremony. Then the bodies were taken into 4 different ambulances, and people walked behind the ambulances. The families were walking right behind, and I was actually standing next to some of them. The women's were just, completely crumbling down in tears. So this was on their way down to the graveside. People were walking behind 4 ambulances.
See if you guys can get the pictures of the 4 guys that were slaughtered in the Kosher Deli. And for our audience, just cycling in maybe at 4:26 in the afternoon, East Coast time, 11:26 in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Jane. We have Jerusalem Jane, who has a new job in Israel. She's going to tell you about that in a second. But she went to the funeral yesterday of the 4 Jewish men who were selected for execution by the jihadi, the 3rd jihadi, who went into the Kosher Deli in Paris, took hostages, and said that if anything happens to the 2, I think it's Karachi brothers, who were on the lam running around, that he's going to execute everybody in there. And he shot 4 of them into the French SWAT team intelligence. And as much fun and as much analysis as we have that's negative about French military and French police not carrying guns, there's a very elite unit both on the military intelligence side, and I've seen them personally work. There's a very unique and elite group of French counterterrorism folks that absolutely know what they're doing. And they set up an operation, went in, killed this guy, the jihadi. But the decisions were made
And these
by
are the brothers their bodies being brought back, the video that we have?
yeah.
Yes,
We'll
this
show
is
that.
The funeral of the 4
Right.
Israelis that were killed in France.
but
Yeah, the
that's
decision
coming out
was
of the
made.
ambulance, though.
What you just saw now was when I got there, I walked over to the side, and there were these 4 ambulances, and these are the 4 bodies of the men who were slaughtered in Paris, taking out of the ambulances. The families were there too, and then they carried them up to put them where the Prime Minister and everybody was. And I'm telling you, sometimes where you really wish there was word to describe how you're feeling, and I can't. Seeing those bodies taken out, seeing the families standing there, and I'm telling you, you could hear a pin drop. It was quiet. And I tried to be professional and, don't cry, but my heart broke.
Well, this is
hang on 1 second. What you just looked at, folks, is exclusive footage from Jerusalem Jane.
Yeah.
She's a woman from Denmark.
That was my point.
She has relocated to Jerusalem to live there. She has no means of income. In fact, if you'd like to donate to keep her there, you can donate to the United West. Just write a check or go to our website and make a notation, that you want to support Jerusalem Jane in Jerusalem in her ministry, and we will make sure all of that money will get to her to continue her amazing work. She's going to be doing these reports from the ground weekly, and more than weekly if necessary for us. But you're seeing footage that is very difficult to see anywhere else because she was right there.
Right.
And do we have a picture of the four guys who were assassinated?
Pull them up.
And this took place a few days ago. I think it was on Friday, the assassination by the jihadi in the Kosher Deli. And much has been made about the fact that a Muslim who was in the Kosher Deli helped get some Jews into the freezer that was in the deli and save their lives. And to that Muslim's credit, that's tremendous. And we have maintained on this show consistently, notwithstanding our enemy's effort to position us as haters of Muslims. Not true. We hate the death and destruction ideology of Islamic Jihad and the system of Islam, the Sharia component of that kills people. But if you want to be a Muslim and be non-lethal and integrate into the West, integrate into Paris, our hat is off to you. And we praise the Muslim guy who helped save people. He probably didn't know if they were Jewish or not. I mean, they're people. This is a very good thing to do. So Jane, as we pull up the faces of the four so that people can see who they are, what is your new job in Jerusalem?
Well, actually, because I went to the Temple Mount and I did the videos that I did, I got a connection with the Jerusalem Post. And I went to meet the editor-in-chief, and he said that my voice, making those videos and saying what I'm saying, was kind of different, and they have a lot of people blogging for them, but he actually offered me to get my own blog, a Jerusalem Post.
Oh, wow.
And it's called Boots on the Ground in Israel, because that's what I am. So
that
this
is
week,
great.
I actually published two, not one, but two blogs on Jerusalem Post. Yeah. I'm kind of proud of that, actually.
That is
Can I be proud of that?
Congratulations.
Your mic isn't
Yeah.
on, I don't think.
Yeah, it is. He's not talking into
Yeah.
it correctly.
Okay.
He doesn't
So-
know how to talk into a mic
I
and
know.
run a TriCast at the
Let
same
me try
time.
that. Oh, that's
I don't hear you coming in.
How's this side?
That's
Yeah.
a little better. Yeah, that's
he's
a little
talking the
better.
wrong side of the mic.
Schmucky's trying to.
I wanted to say congratulations on your new job with the Post. It's marvelous.
Thank you.
That's Schmucky
Thank you.
Pucksnick, our
And,
88.
and Smucky wants to let you know that he helped your connections in there, greased the way for you to let you know he's trying to win your heart over. So
He's a big guy here in the States.
he called the J Post and had him come over and take a look. at
Hey,
you. That's what he's trying to tell
no,
you.
Schmucky.
Okay.
You talk about threats. Our Schmucky got a threat yesterday. Do we have that one?
My computer won't charge. I got nothing.
Okay, we'll have to show you Schmucky's threat. We got a drawn-out threat to Schmucky. So we will show you that at a later date.
I need Jane to protect me.
Yes. Jane, what
Okay.
was... Whenever we do a show, we have a big idea, and our big idea today is that President Hollande has created even a further division between France and Israel through the rejection of Bibi Netanyahu coming over. He did not want him there. He thought he'd cause trouble. And then the way Netanyahu was treated when he came here. That's our big idea. We're not going to ask you to get involved with that right now because we're focusing a little differently on your work. But on your two blogs, but we have a big idea every show, and then we build our pieces around the big idea. What was your big idea? And you need to be able to state this in one or two sentences for each of the two blogs that you have so far published on the Jerusalem Post. You didn't start out down here. You went right to the top.
New York
Jerusalem
Times of
page.
the
Top
Israel.
of the list, she is.
Man.
Yeah, for everybody who doesn't, Jerusalem Post is like the New York Times of Israel.
yeah.
It really is.
What were the two big ideas for each of your blogs?
My first blog was kind of like an introduction to me. Who am I? Why am I in Israel? Why did I come to Israel? And what am I doing here? And to tell the stories of the Jewish people I meet and why we need to stand with them. And the second blog I wrote was actually because I was watching some documentary about all the miracles that God has performed for this nation every time they have been in war. In 48 and 67, 6 Days War, there have been so many great testimonies how the Israelis were caught and they were kind of like, okay, there's no way out of this. And God just did tremendous miracles. So I just wrote a piece about how can you not believe in miracles? I mean, even the fact that this nation is alive and striving in 2015 with all the obstacles, it's a miracle.
That's amazing.
So I just, and what the Bible says, all the miracles that God has done for his nation down through history in the Bible. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And if people want to read your blogs, are you putting them up on Israel One Nation, which is your Facebook page, your main communication vehicle?
Yeah, of course they can go on Jerusalem Post internet page. There is a section called blogs, and they just find Jane Keel, and they're right there. But of course, yeah, I'm sharing them on Israel One Nation too because hey, I'm proud of them.
You're going to have to put Jane, quote, Jerusalem Jane,
I was going to ask
close
you.
quote, then your last name, because that's how you're known.
No, Jerusalem
Yeah,
Jane
Jerusalem
is
Jane.
that's kind of
That's your pen
that's
name.
your hook.
Yeah, that's your
That's your
pen
hook.
name.
Did you see? I actually so much has happened since I talked to you last. I was interviewed on Arosheva, the radio program
I've been following
too.
all of it. Yes, you've been interviewed, and a lot of stuff is going on. And you talked about Jerusalem
Yeah.
Jane and your appearances with us, and you're our correspondent over there. Now it's great stuff, and we are praying for obviously your safety. But as all of us, anybody in this work, there is a level of danger, if you want. But because we're driven by very deep, truthful principles, we take the level of danger, deal with it properly, but don't let it immobilize. In fact, let it energize our work and move ahead to accomplish the task at hand. And that's exactly what you're doing, standing for Jewish people as human beings and standing for the nation of Israel as a simply coalition.
These are the 4
Jewish
victims,
people.
Tom.
Yeah, we have on the screen right now the 4 young guys that were needlessly slaughtered in Islam's effort to destroy.
And here's what
hang on. Let me go ahead. I wanted to get something out, but go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, and this is what you're not going to see on CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox News, anyone. They will not show what happened from the ground level like you're showing it, Jane.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff, and they won't show the cartoons either, which we obviously will show. All right, Jerusalem Jane, thank you for your tremendous work, your report this week, and if anything pops up that's necessary, we will have you on immediately, any time of the day or night. These guys never leave this room. They're always here, so we're always available. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday, okay, on the 21st, because today's the 14th.
Thank you, guys.
All right, you take care.
Thank you.
Jerusalem
Shalom.
Jane. Shalom.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Jerusalem Jane, at 37 minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, Enemies of the State, name of the show, folks, on a interesting Wednesday afternoon. Hump day, hey, Mike. Oh, hey, Mike. Hump day. Lot going on. We're going to get Arie Egozi in a moment to give his view on President Hollande of France and his deteriorating relationship with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the Parisian attacks on Jews. What do you guys think of Jerusalem Jane and her amazing work?
I'm just really happy for her that she's gotten the assignment with the Jerusalem Post. I mean, that's just fantastic. She deserves it, and not as much exposure she's going to get here, that's for sure, on the United West, but,
That's right.
I'm really happy for her. I think that's a wonderful feather in her cap for whatever she wants to do further on in her life, and that's just, and that's what shows you that the value of reporting on the ground, getting off your couch, getting out from your burqa lounger, and then going out there and actually shooting video and doing. You can make a difference. Jane just went out there and did it.
I met her in Israel in November and saw a very passionate, very committed Christian woman who truly had a heart for Israel, for Jewish people. And we did a couple of pieces from Israel. Then when we got back here, we started featuring her. And that featuring of her was the seed that got other news agencies interested in what she was doing.
Yes, we take full credit and responsibility for all her future paychecks.
That's
yes,
right. We should be our agent. If you go to the Jerusalem Post, they just had the Charlie Hebdo front cover on their homepage as the primary picture. Now, they did it a little,
Did they fuzz it out?
Yeah, no. They showed the whole thing, but they're showing a news scene. So to their credit, they just drop down to one of the secondary pictures. You can touch on it. It'll come up. But you need to show what they did because it's pretty good. Other news outlets are not doing this. They're concerned about Muslim sensibilities.
And they're actually fuzzing out the pictures.
They are.
And they're blurring out the image of it. Like, it's a freaking cartoon, guys. It's a caricature of someone you've never seen.
Our buddy Anjem Chowdhury said it's an act of war. And other Muslim clerics are saying it's ridiculous to do this. So this is an ongoing cultural battle. We understand that. Yesterday we made the point that Islam at its philosophical, academic, theological core is supremacist. They're a supremacist entity that must control the world. And therefore, any other political system other than the Sharia is an obstacle to the implementation of Islam worldwide. Therefore, there is necessarily a cultural clash, a clash of civilizations. We've made that point, and notwithstanding our president's ability or inabilities to try to convince the world that that's any differently. That's the problem. But we have another expert standing by with us right now on our Wednesday report from Israel. We have our very dear friend Arie Egozi. Arie, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hi.
Howdy, howdy. What a week. Can you believe it?
Sorry?
What a week the world has just seen. Can you believe it?
No. There's an echo. Hello?
Why
It's
do we
yeah,
have that echo with him?
I know he hears an echo all the time. Nobody else hears an echo. It's on his machine or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
We hear you
Okay,
perfectly.
now it's okay.
Okay.
But do you
Yeah,
hear me?
it's good.
We hear you perfectly. Is okay?
You asked me whether it's a surprise.
Well, yeah. Last week, in fact, let's do this. Do we have the copy or no?
In a minute we will.
In a minute. Hang on. We took a little piece of somebody that looks exactly like you saying something that we want you to comment on this week, okay?
Okay.
Because usually the Arie Egozi we know is right on point every time, but we're getting a little piece ready for you right here. As you remember, last Wednesday was the attack on the Parisian attack on Charlie Hebdo, and we had to push our Wednesday update back a day to Thursday because we covered that. We had you on, and take a look at you responding to a question that I asked you. This was on Thursday. Check this out.
No, I don't think that this attack has any connection with Israel. They attacked the French publication. There were attacks on synagogues and schools in France before, Jewish schools, but this time there's no connection to Israel whatsoever or to Jews. This was an attack on the freedom of speech in France.
Can't hear it? You can't hear it. All right.
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay.
What? You couldn't hear anything? All right.
No, I can't hear anything.
We played a piece from to get the timeline right, folks, at 43 minutes after. On Wednesday of last week, the 7th, the attack occurred. Then we had our Israel report on the 8th. And then on the 9th, the attack occurred at the Jewish Deli. And in our discussion with you, we're trying to figure out if there was any Jewish connection. And you basically said, no, you didn't. At this point, you didn't see a Jewish connection with the attacks in Paris. That was on Thursday. And then the next day, the guy goes and shoots up the Kosher Deli. You Jews, you're the center of everything. In fact, we have a former president of the United States who blamed the attack on Jewish people in Israel. Did you see that?
Yes, I heard about it, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Now, looking back at all of this, does it surprise you that Israel was part of this attack scenario? How do you explain that to us?
No, I think that the attack on the kosher deli was against Jews. They didn't came there at random. They planned the attack. They knew that Jews will be there on Friday preparing for Shabbat, and they came to kill Jews. It wasn't just a
Random thing.
a random selection. That's for sure.
And when that happened, because we haven't spoken to you, we spoke to you on Thursday. The attack on the Kosher Deli was Friday. Where were you when you found out that a Kosher Deli was under attack and hostages and that whole thing? Where were you?
I was at home. I heard that on TV, on radio. I was not surprised. We all knew that the jihadis are looking to hit Jewish targets. And after the attack on the Charlie Hebdo, I knew that another attack will come that will involve Jews in France, in other places. This will happen in other places. I told you a few weeks ago, there was a video showing 2 police cars attacked in central Paris.
Yes.
So we all knew that this is coming, and I just read a report about the flow of weapons coming from mainly from Eastern Europe into Europe and in Paris. They have thousands of assault rifles, anti-tank rockets. It's an army. I
like
told you in
Gaza.
a previous show. Yes. So this will happen again, and all those demonstrations, all those beautiful speeches of the leaders, that was nice, but you cannot fight terror with sympathy. Terror you fight with heavy weapons and with smart people.
All right, we got Arie Egozi this week, right now, on the 14th of January at 46 minutes after 4 o'clock. On the East Coast, our good friend, he has a phenomenal national security website, Israel's Homeland Security Home. You can reach Arie Egozi through Israel's Homeland Security Home. That website, we'll put the address up shortly. And we're talking to him about the reflection now of the attack at the Kosher Deli. Told us it was Shabbat. That's when most of the Jewish people go out, get all their food in the morning, and start preparing in the afternoon for the Shabbat dinner, and the whole thing ending on late at sundown on Saturday. So well planned out. We're finding out now that the inspiration for the jihadi who shot the 4 Jewish guys was the Islamic State. The inspiration for the 2 brothers who shot up Charlie Hebdo was AQ, Al-Qaeda in Yemen. So we're seeing this integration now. Israel's a small country, folks. 7-8 million people, 7 million Jewish people. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's related to everybody.
And more French coming by the day, no?
They're coming. They're coming.
When this tragedy happened, do you know somebody who's related to one of these guys?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
When the tragedy happened of the 4 Jewish guys getting shot in Paris, have you heard already that this is a son or cousin or brother of somebody you know?
No, I don't know anyone who knew these people, but there's a big Jewish community in France and in Paris, and many kosher groceries and markets. But it doesn't matter. These Jews were killed because they are Jews. They did not do anything wrong. They were preparing for Shabbat, and they were killed because they are Jews. And that affects every Israeli. That was a big shock, and it could become a bigger shock. But some of the people managed, to go to the basement and save themselves in the big fridge of the store. And I think that it's a sign. These things will happen in Europe. If you see the announcement today from Yemen, from Al-Qaeda, they said we will do it again, and they will do it again if the fight against terrorism in Europe will keep looking like it looks now. It looks now like a kid stuff. They talk. The borders are open. There's no control of the borders. Weapons can flow from country to country. People can go. The girlfriend of this terrorist, she went out. She went to Turkey, and now she's in Syria. We saw a video of her in a Turkish airport. She was on the list. How was she not stopped at the border control? There's nothing that can stop these terrorists from going out and coming back. And the big danger is of them coming back from Syria and from Iraq, well-trained, mind-washed. And if this gap will not be closed, we will see more attacks like this in Paris and in other places in Europe.
Yeah, now here's a development that we need to understand, Arie, because we agree that Europe may be too far gone, and we have launched the Israel Security Project That is to repair the relationship between the United States and Israel on a national security level that has been destroyed by the Obama administration. So we're doing a lot of work on that over the next 663 days until the election, November 8th, 2016. One of the components that is forefront right now has two elements to it. We want you to comment on this. Benjamin Netanyahu came over from Israel to Paris to stand in unity with other world leaders. And the two subpoints below that, and help clarify this. One was that he really wasn't going to come, but when some of the other Israeli politicians said they're going, he felt he had to come. And the other element is the reception or the initial response of the French government to Netanyahu coming and not wanting him to come, and then basically saying, look, if you come, Abu Mazen's going to come, Mahmoud Abbas, he's coming too. And I'm putting both of you guys in the front row. What's going on?
That's a bloody joke. That's a bloody joke.
Unravel the geopolitics for us on that.
So I was surprised that he was invited, but the French wants to be politically correct all the way, and they invited him, and to see him in the front row of leaders in Paris in a demonstration against Islamic terror. That's a bad joke. That's a bad joke. But again, I'm saying all these holding hands and all these demonstrations are very nice. It's nice to see that the world is united against terrorism, but the demonstrations are over. In everyday life, you should fight terror. You should put measures in place that will make it harder for terrorists to come into European countries and perform terror attacks. And I talked with some Israeli experts. The situation now in Europe is that everything is wide open. There's no coordination between the security organization of the major countries in the continent. They don't have a major database. So people, as this girlfriend of the terrorist, she went out of France easily, went to Turkey, and now she's in Syria. I'm sure that many other people that are on the wanted list went out, they come in. There's no real apparatus that really controlling their movements. I heard Israeli experts saying that the French constitution does not allow the authorities to penetrate the privacy of the citizens. Okay, that's fine. We live in a democracy in Israel, but this is an emergency situation now. It's the West against the jihadi Islam, and even with this kind of atmosphere of freedom and human rights, something has to be changed. I hope that the French Parliament will understand this and will install some tools that will enable the French security forces to be more efficient than they are now.
Yeah, Arie Egozi, ladies and gentlemen, at 54 minutes after 4 o'clock, 54 minutes after the hour, Tom Trento, Enemies of the State. Our issue today is the relationship between President Hollande from France and Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. There seems to be some bad blood there. And more generally speaking, the horrible situation that Europe is in, as Ari just eloquently explained, in terms of fighting against Islamic Jihad. And just a quick review, 20 years ago, and I don't remember when the EU started. Somebody can check that out. Before the EU was formulated, the European Union, you had Europe, and you have 23, 24 countries ranging from tiny countries like Denmark and Sweden to larger countries like Spain. with 100 million people, usually about 50 to 60 million people in the major European countries. And they had their own currency. They operated with their own independent governments. And somebody had the brilliant idea, let's all form a union and we can compete economically against the United States of America. And they did that, and they have a common currency, which is the euro, except for a couple of countries that said, we're not buying into that. Well, once they unified philosophically and politically and economically, they had to say, we're all Europeans. We're not nationalistic Germans or Italians or French anymore. Therefore, we need the freedom to move between our countries in an unimpeded way. Makes sense if you're going to have a group of people all united for the same purpose. So when you travel now in Europe, as we do, and you come to an airport, you'll see a line that says, for people who have European passports, you get expedited right through. And for people that don't have that, you go through a little more rigorous security check. Well, if you're a Muslim jihadi with a European passport, you got jihad gold in your hand, because you can do whatever the hell you want and move in any country and just infest, infect, and destroy Europe from within, and that seems to be what's happening.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here, Ari?
Sorry?
Where do we go, the West, the United West? Where do Westerners go from here? We got about a minute left.
I think that the criticism about Bibi Netanyahu going to French was not justified. He had to go. We know that the parties in Israel are busy fighting with each other because of the coming elections. And there are signs that Hezbollah in Lebanon is threatening again Israel. I'm not sure that they will do something, but this front is now getting much attention from the Israeli defense forces. And that's it. Normal, beautiful weather. We had some cold weather. Today was a beautiful day. And the country is engaged in a full war on the coming elections. The parties are choosing their teams for the elections, and they're accusing each other for a variety of things. It's like some of them are jokes, but this is part of democracy. It's better to live in a country like Israel with these jokes than in a country like North Korea.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And that's it. Normal life, and we are looking at Europe with great concern.
And rightfully so. Arie Egozi, we thank you for the report this week. Anything pops up, we will get to you and bring it to our folks. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday, and may God continue to keep you safe and bless your tremendous work over there, okay? You take care.
Thank you very much, Tom and the guy. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
We'll see ya.
Hey, on tomorrow's show, folks, we're going to pick up one of the points Ari just made about Hezbollah up in the north. Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, just said today, on the 14th of January, that Israel has no idea of the weaponry that we have that we can use to fight and destroy them. That's Nasrallah, the same guy, the same guy that last week came out and condemned the attacks against Charlie Hebdo for free speech.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at that on tomorrow's show. Also on tomorrow's show, we're going to get to some of the situational awareness issues. We got to get to CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations.
We have to get to CARE. CARE came out earlier this week, folks, after condemning the attack on Charlie Hebdo and the attack on free speech. Less than 1 week after that, they are calling for Fox News Channel, the #1 cable news network on the air in this country. They are calling for them to keep anyone that they don't like off of the air because
tomorrow.
they don't like what they say.
On tomorrow's show, we're going to have that. That's the 15th of January, Thursday. But right now,
Make sure you have the headline.
Right now, it's time to go. All of you have a wonderful day, and go
Bye,
to
Jim.
theunitedwest.org, hit the donate button. Help us keep this craziness on the air. Thank you. Bye-bye.